It is Saturday, my dudes. You know what that means. What is up, everybody? Mr. T here, aka The Judge. We are back again with another live from the Shooting Star Press. And tonight, I am here with my co-host, Mr. The Gorekeeper, aka right over here.
Howdy.
Mr. Gorekeeper, welcome. And tonight, we have a very special guest back again for a third consecutive week in a row. Mr. John Leonard, welcome back, sir.
Yeah, thank you for having me once again.
Well, we need to talk about Wrestle Kingdom, so we need you. This week we're going to talk about what transpired at Wrestle Kingdom 15, which was an awesome show. We're going to cover Impact like we do weekly. This is actually our first week covering Impact because the last two episodes, our first episodes, were recap episodes of Impact, so there was not much to tell. But I actually watched Impact this week, and there was some stuff on there, to say the least. And AEW, So let's get into general thoughts of the week. So, question for Tyler right away that I have, since Wrestle Kingdom 15 just happened on Monday and Tuesday. It was a two-night thing, like it has been the last 2 years now. I'm curious to know how you feel about New Japan versus something that the American promotions have to offer.
All right. I'll be honest with you, I am still actually watching Wrestle Kingdom right now. Right off the bat, the matches are so much longer. You know, and trying to think of pros and cons of what I like, what I don't like. You know, for growing up watching nothing but American wrestling my entire life, you know, watching this, you know, sometimes can get a little difficult because, you know, matches are sometimes 30 minutes or longer or 17 minutes long, which, you know, is kind of unheard of in most wrestling, American wrestling shows, or, you know, just about anything you see. Overall, you know, I think because I'm much older, you know, in life, and had I been starting out watching this as a kid, I probably would have been so bored and never gotten into it. But I guess the best way, like if I was going to try to tell somebody new why they should watch New Japan, you know, you would need to watch it because A, you love wrestling, B, you love the storytelling. Like, I tried to explain to my dad the other night the major differences between New Japan and like AEW. New Japan, it's like I am at a theater performance, you know, and you're so into the match. Now, the crowd, I love the crowd.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
ever
weird
since
that now, since the COVID thing, they're not allowed to actually chant. So it's all claps and stomps. Like, that's part of the protocol. But usually there's a fair amount of. It's not like WWE where they're screaming and it's just like ambient noise. Like, there's always a chant going on, or you can hear someone yelling first.
It's really weird. Always talking in WWE, AEW. One of the nice things that because of the pandemic, wrestling across the board had to change for America, and it really brought out a couple of, you know, hidden gems from wrestling. Like, number one, you hear the wrestlers talking to each other and just talking about, you know, just general things, not like, hey, I'm going to do this move, whatever, you know, like actual groans and, you know, this and that. And the fact that the Japanese audience is pretty much silent the entire match, other than when a really good move happens or rules are being followed by the face and not, you know, breaking the rules or anything like that. You know, I absolutely love the audience. You know, the clapping is much more enjoyable. You know, it's, I guess I'm it's more relaxing. I think. I guess I can't really think of the word. But just with how quiet it is, it's relaxing to watch. You can really get into it. One of the things that I kind of didn't like too much is welcome, Shad. Welcome to the live. The refereeing. So I'm used to American wrestling rules, and Gorekeeper and I talked about this last night, that it's really ultimately up to the referee's discretion of how the match goes. But during Wrestle Kingdom, one of the wrestlers literally shoved the referee down, and the ref let the match go on. And I was like, whoa, that's a DQ. But the ref let the match go on. Countouts are way different. Overall, I really like the referees. The only thing I think the referees are bad at is when they're counting. Like, there's a few times I noticed where they're going 1, 2, and then they really hesitate and stop because they know that the wrestler is supposed to kick out. So that was one of the things I noticed during a couple of the matches I watched. But overall, it is what it is. The hard hitting wrestling that this is, like, if you're a wrestling fan, the moves that they do, the hits they take, the shots, everything is 1,000 times better than what you see in any American wrestling, TNA, AEW, WWE, any of that. And for me, another huge thing was the entrances. The entrances aren't exactly the same.
No.
But for me, I was really able to get into the I think it's the Great Okan. What's his name? The Great Khan?
Oh, Great Okan.
Great Okan?
The guy with the thing in front of his face? I was immediately sucked into that match solely because the entrances for both wrestlers were amazing to me, and it really went to show, like, the thought they had put into their characters. I'm trying to think of the other guys. The other guy,
a WrestleMania shirt. Thank you for noticing.
But what match was it? I've
only heard of Jeff Cobb before. His match best week.
Hiroshi Tanahashi versus the Great Okan. That match was probably so far one of my favorite matches. Probably not my favorite, because I really liked Okada versus Will Ospreay. I think it's been so far my favorite match. I'm not all the way through night 2. But
I can't believe you liked the Tanahashi versus Great Okan match. I hated that match.
A lot of people don't like Great Okan.
No, he did nothing for me.
I really like the Great Okan. I mean, his in-ring stuff is a little weird, like, being on the ground, like, coming at you like a monkey is kind of weird, But he's a weird character, and I keep struggling with these guys' names, so bear with me.
No problem.
The Hiroshi Tanahashi, man, he was awesome.
They call him the Ace of Japan for a reason.
I believe it. And, watching him reminded me a lot of, like, Kenny Omega, but also a lot of, like, old school WWE wrestlers, like 1980s WWE wrestlers, which was really cool to see that. And you literally, like, you look at them almost like you would, like, in Ultimate Warrior, or along the lines of that.
I would go way farther to say that Tanahashi's a way better wrestler than Ultimate Warrior.
Well, to be honest with you guys, I don't think I've actually seen Warrior wrestle.
Oh, he's terrible.
So
bad.
The only match I can really recall is when he, I think, wrestled Orlando Jordan in, like, the Indies, or, like, some house show, like, in school. It was garbage.
Yeah.
But Yeah,
People liked Ultimate Warrior for his character, and that was about it.
Yeah, and see, I'm a big character guy, and right now in wrestling, there's not a lot of characters, and unfortunately, that's one of the things that I like about wrestling. Being a superhero fan, I love me some good characters.
So, John, what was your quick takeaway of Wrestle Kingdom 15 before we get into everything? Or what's your general thoughts of the week? Like, was it a good week of wrestling for you?
Well, overall, yes. The one thing I will say is I definitely get that with the pandemic, they wanted to make this Wrestle Kingdom feel as special. There was part of me that honestly felt that if you took the top matches of both of the nights, which probably would have been a typical old school 3 years ago, Wrestle Kingdom card, it would seem just as stacked as any other years. But unfortunately, this time I felt that a lot of the undercard matches were okay. Like, there wasn't anything of like, why the hell is this here? But I mean, there were definitely some that were like, oh, that match is done. There's
what was that one match with Taguchi and Master Wato?
Yes,
why was that on?
I don't think I saw that.
Oh, man, that even was so weird.
Not good.
No, it was not good.
I mean I get that they like their Rumble, but that just took so much.
I skip it every year, and I skipped it this year too. And I told Tyler to skip it too.
Well,
there was a lot you told me to skip.
Yeah.
Well, I ended up watching that because of the fact that it tied into that whole setting up for the King of Pro Wrestling, and then even for that, there's a lot of people that were mixed on that because there's a lot of people that don't like when battle royals just end when you have a certain number of participants. In this case, it was to whittle it down to 4 rather than have the one winner. I guess maybe the one reason that I checked that out as well is I will say, okay, I'll let the judge have Great Okan if I can get no shit for liking Toru Yano. A lot of people don't. He is such a good comedy wrestler. I don't give a shit.
He is a good comedy wrestler. He really is. But for him to get wins over the likes of Kenny Omega and that G1 that he did really soured me on.
You also didn't like him getting that win on Sonata this last year during the G1.
No, because Sonata got off to such a bad start on the G1.
Well, and then you also didn't like
what are they doing with Sonata?
Well, you also didn't like the fact that by definition of this, because he successfully defended it, Toru Yano is the 2020 King of Pro Wrestling. And he currently has the trophy for this year. So he could do it 2 years.
It's the 24/7 belt of New Japan.
That was another thing I was kind of confused with, was all these trophies. Like, is it a Slammy? Is it a championship? Like, what in the world?
We can get into that quick. There's a few that they all technically mean something.
Yeah.
In this case, the two that definitely probably confused you was the Super J Cup and the winning. What was the other one?
Best of Super Juniors.
Best of the Super Juniors. Those are typically 2 separate tournaments. One is a round robin style, and the other one's just straight brackets. But because of the pandemic, instead of one is usually more springtime, and the other one is in the fall. So the Best of the Super Juniors is usually the springtime one, which builds up to their summer show Dominion, but that didn't happen. So they decided to still do both tournaments in the fall and have those 2 tournament winners fight to find who's the number 1 contender.
Yeah.
So that's the issue.
Hiromu Takahashi, aka Time Bomb, he has like the longer hair with the red and the black. I don't know if you saw any of his matches. You watched his one with El Phantasmo, I know. But Hiromu Takahashi won Best of Super Juniors, so he had the Best of Super Juniors trophy. El Phantasmo won the Super J Cup. And so those two had a match in night 1 to determine who was going to fight Taiji Ishimori, who is the Super Junior champion. The Super Junior champion.
All these names, and I'm just like, who? This guy? Like,
Basically,
Ishimori is Bone Soldier from Bullet Club, the new Bone Soldier, not the old shitty Bone Soldier. If you even know who that was, but he was terrible. Anyways, I think this is a good time to get into best of the week.
Okay.
I just want to say a quick thing about Impact. I did watch it. There was some stuff here and there that was good. I took some notes so we can get into that.
Well, they do they're building up for pay-per-view next Saturday.
So we're gonna have to. After the show, we'll have to discuss when we're gonna do our live show. Because next Saturday is the Impact pay-per-view. So let's get into.
Stay tuned.
The next thing, Wrestler of the Week, or if you want to do Match of the Week, you can do that too. I think that's fine, especially because there's so much this week.
Yes.
I want to start on this one because I have 2 matches of the week that I think are tied for me, and I can't think of which one I like better. But the matches of the week I had for me were both from Wrestle Kingdom 15, and they were both from Night 2, and that was Shingo Takagi versus Jeff Cobb. 2 just big, beefy sons of bitches. And
you're taking SRS's thing.
I didn't see SRS's thing, no.
Well, that's he's beef. He calls the beef sirloin big sons of bitches.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, that's just always been his thing, and he declared Wrestle Kingdom that Shingo Takagi is now officially a big beef sirloin sons of bitch.
Oh, he is. That match was amazing. Jeff Cobb at one point did a power slam moonsault. Just standing, not even off the ropes, just standing in the ring to Shingo Takagi. And that was incredible. It was such a hard-hitting match. It was so fun.
Jeff is awesome.
Jeff Cobb is incredible. And then my other match, which I think I have to put over because I think for me is early running for match of the year, and that's Jay White versus Kota Ibushi, which Mr. T is watching right now. I freaking loved that match. The storytelling in it was super compelling. Jay White really, really impressed me this week. Not that he's never not impressed me before. I've always loved Jay White stuff, and I've always loved Kota Ibushi stuff too. Like, it's just a really exciting time in New Japan right now. But yeah, I think I got to go with my best wrestler of the week. I'm going to have to say is Jay White.
He's definitely was trending a lot this week, especially after Wrestle Kingdom.
Yes, there's a lot of news going around
get
right
into
now.
That speculation.
Which makes me wonder what's going to happen. What's he going to do? Especially since during Wrestle Kingdom, you heard New Japan saying that there's potential of them coming to America or having some type of an American program going on. Fingers crossed we get actual Bullet Club in AEW. I would
that's the interesting
mark out.
That's the interesting thing about it is on Impact, they said the name Bullet Club.
Yes, they did.
On AEW, they did not. They said the band is back together. They never mentioned Bullet Club, which I think is weird, because why not? Why would Impact be allowed to say Bullet Club but not AEW?
Well,
that's odd to me.
I almost wonder because Impact is on Access TV and nobody probably watches it. Hey, Caleb.
That's my brother.
But yeah, I don't know. Part of me wonders, like, maybe it's because Impact's on, Access Television, and it's literally like a speck on the television world right now. Because
New Japan also airs on Access TV.
No, really? It did.
I'm learning stuff every day.
They got bumped from Access after Impact jumped. Yeah, so that's kind of what happened, and so that's the sort of thing of them wanting to have another presence on American television because of that.
Gotcha. So everybody else's wrestler match of the week, what is it?
Yeah, so I'll be honest with you guys. For some reason, my DVR recorded literally 6 minutes of AEW, which blows so much.
Dude, it does because Kenny Omega versus Rey Fenix was so damn good.
But with every darkness, there is light, boys. And another thing that makes AEW light years ahead of the WWE is the fact that almost instantly after it was over, it was almost like literally a decent chunk of every single segment, every single match uploaded to YouTube. Now, if you guys miss it like I did, you can go there and get caught up in a blink of an eye. So, it's not easy for me to pick match of the week. However, everything I've seen of New Japan and Wrestle Kingdom, for me, it'd have to be that Will Ospreay match for right now. Just, I've never seen any of these wrestlers before in my life. And just seeing that, like, literally stomping on the guy's face in the middle of the ring. Like, you can't fake that, boys. And, just some of the weird flips and everything, like the hard hits, the elbows, like the forearms, everything. Like,
well, and that match is a great choice because this is the simplest. One thing that's great with New Japan in general is their storylines are extremely simple. I know that that you kind of miss it, but a lot of the time it's I think I'm great, you think you're great, let's fight. In this case, it is I brought you along to this company, I raised you up, you betrayed me, let's fight. Like, it's a simple story. There's no over-the-top shenanigans. There's no necrophilia, whatever.
No Katie Vick.
There's no fighting over a Japanese shampoo commercial. It's just straight ahead, let's fight.
Yep.
Yeah, they tell all their stories pretty much in the ring and through long-term booking. Like,
yeah,
and pretty much everything you need to see happens in the ring for you to understand what happens. And if you still get lost in the translation, the English commentary is very good over there. Kevin Kelly and Rocky Romero do an awesome job as commentators.
And it's not over the top either. So like watching Wrestle Kingdom for me, it was very reminiscent to when I've seen like independent shows like in Litchfield or in Hutchinson, where you don't have commentators to listen to, and it's literally the wrestlers in the ring telling you the story.
Mm-hmm. So, John, what was your wrestler or match of the week?
Okay. I am going to say that everything Wrestle Kingdom was awesome and great in terms of in-ring work, but this will be the shocker. But last night on SmackDown, I would have to give my wrestler of the week to Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I heard about that.
So let's get this basic storyline, rough line. They're building up to figure out who is going to fight Roman at the Royal Rumble. There's all of this stuff and teasing, what have you, that what they decide to do is to do a gauntlet match. Because they usually execute those well.
They do.
The one thing that basically got teased and put into it is that Roman and Paul Heyman got WWE official Adam Pearce. He has to be in the gauntlet match.
Okay.
I saw clips. I was like, who in the world is this dude?
Let's get to the basic sort of thing. So you have it started off Rey Mysterio and Sami Zayn. You're like, okay, awesome. Mysterio quickly beats Zayn, and so you're like, okay, this is going to be, because typically the formula of these gauntlets is it showcases somebody really well for about an hour, and then they either triumph or they completely fail, and you're like, oh, okay, Mysterio's going to win. Then out comes Shinsuke Nakamura. Makes Mysterio tap out with an armbar. You're like, okay. in a very good back and forth match. Next is Baron Corbin. That was a surprisingly good chunk of match. Nakamura beats Corbin. You're like, okay. And then this was the part where it kicked into extra gear. Out comes Daniel Bryan in this sort of high stakes thing. And the reason I know some people are, well, Brandon is hit and miss on Daniel Bryan, but
yep, not a fan.
Daniel Bryan is one of the guys that Shinsuke Nakamura.
You're not a fan of Daniel Bryan?
No,
we'll get to that at some point, I'm sure. Yeah. But Daniel Bryan was like the top guy that Shinsuke Nakamura wanted to fight coming to WWE, and so this was the chunk where, holy Lord, it was the closest, even amazingly the week of Wrestle Kingdom, it was WWE's style of New Japan style stuff, the way that they laid into each other, and that chunk alone was probably a good solid 25-30 minutes. They got a good chunk of time in there. And then you have this odd storyline that happens, which of course would be so much better if there was a crowd, but I think because of that performance, they have effectively turned Shinsuke Nakamura babyface again.
Okay, that's good.
At least that's what it appears. And so, in between the two, out comes Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, and they beat the shit out of Shinsuke Nakamura in the King sort of beat style like they've been doing to Kevin Owens and everybody. They tell Adam Pearce to get his ass in the ring. They throw him in. Tells him to make the cover. Pearce doesn't do it. Jey Uso knocks him out with the super kick, lays Pearce on top. 1, 2, 3. Adam Pearce, at least on paper, is going to fight Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. And there's two mindsets of what is going to happen here. Either they're going by the logic of nobody is going to believe that Roman Reigns is losing the title at the Royal Rumble, so let's get this really interesting story of this outlier, or in some form or fashion, Shinsuke Nakamura will get that number one contendership, and you'd have Shinsuke Nakamura versus Roman at the Royal Rumble. Which
that's what makes sense.
Unless they're now, I will say Adam Pearce is not a slouch. It's just been a little bit since he's wrestled. I mean, he's been a former NWA World's Champion, so he has been
that
in the
means
independent.
Nothing unless you've wrestled in WWE. They're not going to treat you like that.
Yeah,
they're going to treat him like he's a nothing in the ring, and he's going to get squashed.
Well, yeah, he didn't get to, and that's the storyline that they're telling. That Roman Reigns has set it up for him to have an easy as shit opponent at the Royal Rumble. But
any chance Adam Pearce wins this?
I would be so happy because I hate Roman with a passion, but I know it's not going to happen.
The only thing I will knock Roman for it, but this is not his fault. The beginning of SmackDown is going to get ridiculously repetitive, which is Roman, Paul Heyman, Jey Uso come out, cut promo. They've been doing that for probably the last 5 or 6 SmackDowns. It's getting...
I mean, they're trying so hard, to make Roman a good bad guy, but honestly, people are just so sick of him wrestling and being in the limelight that's why people don't like him. It's not because he's a good heel. It's because everyone is just sick of him. At least that's my opinion on Roman Reigns. Like, Roman, come at me, bro. Come fight me. Like, I'm not gonna. Literally. Put me on a little card table outside your wrestling show and changed my mind.
I don't know. I don't watch much of WWE, basically just the pay-per-views, but every Roman match I've seen since he's been heel, I've really enjoyed. I liked it. And it's the first time I've ever cared about Roman Reigns. I never even liked the Shield, to be honest. I didn't care for the Shield.
I hated the Shield.
And everyone loves them, but like Roman, as soon as he would heel, it's like, finally, This is what they've been needing to do for years. This is what they needed to change him because he was getting booed. So just morph him into a heel, retain that heat. And I can't speak to whether people are actually into this or if they're booing just because they're sick of him. But for me, I'm into this, so I'm actually like, yeah, he's actually putting on decent matches. There's a decent story being told throughout all these matches and against his opponents, and I really enjoyed the Jey Uso matches. I thought those were just really good, hitting points and getting everything in. And I loved that Kevin Owens match he had at TLC. That was fantastic. Roman's doing his best work right now, and I can see it going a lot higher if he maintains this work ethic. Because not only is his character better and it suits him better, but the wrestling has improved. Because he's not invincible anymore like he was when he was a babyface. That's what people hated.
Yeah.
He would kick out at anything and then just throw a Superman punch and spear and it's over. But now he's vulnerable and he needs help, so he makes him, it humanizes him more. So it's just, this heel turn has effectively gotten rid of all the problems that I had with Roman while he was a face and just fixed it. And I think it's brilliant. And I don't give WWE a lot of credit a lot of time because a lot of the stuff they do, in my opinion, is stupid. But I have to give them credit on that one.
Yeah.
All right, so should we go to our next segment then?
Yeah.
We're 30 minutes in, so we should probably get to the next segment, which is Worst
Match of the Week.
For those of you who are new, that could also mean Worst Wrestler, Worst Thing, Worst Segment, Worst Promo, Worst Anything of the Week. Does not have to be specifically a match. Just when I made that graphic, that's what I typed. So, and I actually need to go back to my notes, because I forgot what I thought was the worst thing of the week.
Alright, so if you want to give me the screen, I can talk about what my worst match / segment of the week was.
John, your camera's very loud, by the way.
Yes, you got a lot of background audio there, bro.
I'll see what I can do.
Alright, so there was, in my opinion, a lot of horrible segments this week, and not so much for AEW as much as the likes of the WWE, like Monday Night Raw. I don't usually watch Raw ever, but Monday Night Raw, they had some kind of anniversary. They brought back a bunch of superstars, and like I said, there was a lot of stuff I wasn't a big fan of. Like, I could be talking about the Snoop Dogg thing in AEW right now, but I'm not. But literally, for me, the worst segment for me was actually the worst all-around show also. And that was the entirety of Monday Night Raw. They brought back all these superstars like Hulk Hogan, who right as Raw started the show, the first 5 seconds were maybe cool. But everything they did with Hogan, what they did with Ric Flair, and ultimately what made it the worst was at the very end, they have Drew McIntyre in the ring celebrating his victory, and all of a sudden, Bill Goldberg's music goes off, and here he comes, walking down to the ring, and now they're going to wrestle each other at Royal Rumble for the title. Like, literally, WWE, you have so many superstars you should be pushing right now, and you're going to bring back Bill Goldberg. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll love Bill Goldberg forever for everything he did in WCW, but everything he's done with the WWE, in my mind, has sucked. Like, literally last week, we just talked about Bill Goldberg because he was on 20 Questions, but also how he had, in my opinion, one of the biggest letdowns in WrestleMania history against Brock Lesnar. Now, granted, that wasn't all of his fault, but for his sake, he should quit showing up to WWE, especially when there's no fans. Who cares that you come back, dude? The fans are what care about you. Like, and why in the world are they, maybe it's because Drew McIntyre wants to wrestle Bill Goldberg, because it was his favorite wrestler. Maybe I get that. But, like, come on. It's the Royal Rumble. That is a huge pay-per-view. And you're going to let Bill Goldberg just waltz back in and get that spot? That is my worst segment of the week. I don't really have a worst match because, unfortunately, I didn't get to watch a lot. But it is, without a doubt, Bill Goldberg. Thank you for ruining it.
All right. John, okay, there you are. I'm going to give myself a 4 here.
Okay.
All right. All right, so I want to say one thing about Goldberg really quick. Just because I know there's been a lot of AEW versus WWE stuff going on about the hypocrisy of bringing Sting back and us marking out, being happy for Sting, and being bummed out about Goldberg. For me, I was fine when Goldberg first came back and squashed Brock Lesnar. I loved that because it ruined Brock Lesnar's reign of terror for a little bit. But for Goldberg to keep getting these high-profile spot matches for the title, and not only just getting the match, but winning every time and ruining the reigns of Brock Lesnar first, Kevin Owens, what should have been Kevin Owens versus Jericho. That match should have been Kevin Owens versus Jericho for the title. Then he ruined The Fiend, and now he's going to do it to freaking Drew McIntyre, and it's bad. The reason we like Sting coming to AEW is because they're not putting him right at the top right away. They're not going to do that. At least I don't think they're going to do that. Sting has been openly talking about doing cinematic matches only, and the AEW is not going to give a title away during a cinematic match. So that's where I want to end this here. We don't have a problem with bringing old people back. We have a problem with how you use them once you do bring them back. And that's the bottom line. So Sting being in AEW, I think is fine. I was excited. Goldberg I was even excited for. But for him to take those spots away from... Oh, I got Tyler coming up here.
And that's the bottom line, because the goalkeeper said so.
All right. Now my worst segment of the week. I have the notes here. Jazz and Jordan Grace versus Havoc and Nevea, I believe, for the Knockouts Tag Tournament. Not only was it a shocking loss to see Jazz and Jordan Grace lose, because I thought for sure that Jazz and Jordan Grace were going to win that, or at least be in the finals, and they weren't. But Jazz, let's not beat around the bush. Jazz is a legend. She's one of the greatest. She'll go down as one of the greatest female wrestlers of all time, for sure. She's going to be a Hall of Famer. She's not already. I'm not sure if she is, but if she's not, she will be. But in this match with Jordan Grace, she looked green as hell. I believe at this stage in her career, I know she's on her retirement tour and doing all this stuff with Jordan Grace to go on her retirement tour and go for a big send out, but she just can't go anymore, and you could see it. Like, she wasn't hitting bumps right. She was awkwardly trying to punch people. It just looked like she was so out of place. So unfortunately, I think Jazz and Jordan Grace versus Havoc in a Nevea match might be my worst of the week, and specifically Jazz. And now we're gonna see Jazz versus Jordan Grace. I think that happened tonight, actually. So that's going on. Impact's a little special. But other than that, I had one other thing that I really hated, which was the whole character of Abaddon. I hated the Abaddon versus Hikaru Shida match. That was so stupid. I'm not into Abaddon. I've seen it. Impact has Rosemary and Su Yung. Let's talk about Su Yung. Now she's Susan, and she looks like an accountant. What the hell is that about? Intrigued to see where that's going to go. But yeah, the Abaddon, everything about Abaddon, I absolutely hate. The biting, that's just dumb. It's just stupid. Abaddon is not a good wrestler. It's not a well thought out creative character. We've seen that character a million times. So it's not interesting to watch. And the fact that she got a title match is a disgrace. So those two things are my least favorite things about this week. Unfortunately, they both happen to deal with female wrestlers. I have nothing against female wrestlers. I want to make that clear. There's tons of female wrestlers that I do love to watch in the ring, but this week was just a bad week for women's wrestling, and that really sucks.
Alrighty. For me, I have two things.
I'll give you the floor.
Both of them involving New Japan. One, the Rumble. We already got into that. Second, this is more of a letdown, but there's a show that happens after Wrestle Kingdom called New Year's Dash. And I guess this just shows my ignorance in terms of how long I've been watching. But since I've been basically watching, it's kind of like the Raw after WrestleMania. Usually a lot of pointless matches in the grand scheme of things, but there's some sort of shock or story advancement. And this year, the matches just happened and nothing, not even in post comment. So it was, I'm sure it was great for the people that like watching every single New Japan thing. And I guess it was also good for Empire to get their heat back and win something. But other than that, it was a complete waste of time.
You see, you keep it switch around on the camera spread a little bit. All right, so that was our worst of the week. I didn't watch New Year's Dash because I didn't think anything major was going to happen. So
I told you there's not in the past New Year's Dash. Just for those who don't know, that was where like the big stuff was like when AJ Styles was kicked out. Yep. That happened there. When Kenny Omega saved Kota Ibushi from getting his ass kicked by Cody, and so the Golden Lovers reunited.
Yep.
All that kind of stuff. And I mean, even just as a side, some people pointed this out, how awesome it is that right now the Golden Lovers are on top of the wrestling world.
Yeah, that's very awesome. Tyler, have you ever heard about the Golden Lovers?
You're on mute, man.
Oh, sorry. I must have muted him.
Oh.
Or he muted himself.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, sorry. Yes, I have. Because I was real curious about Kenny Omega, and I believe he was a part of the Golden Lovers, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so yes, there's I don't know the YouTube channel off the top of my head, but it basically it tells you the wrestler's backstory from like the start to where they are now, and I was really curious about Kenny Omega because he's. I don't know how to say this, but I think right now he's my favorite wrestler.
He's mine too.
You know, and like I listen to his entrance music on my way to the gym every morning. Him, Jericho, Cody Rhodes, like literally though, like it takes about all those three songs to drive the 11 minutes to the gym. And yeah, I know who the Golden Lovers are. I think is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm familiar with it. I don't know a whole lot about it, other than what I did see on the YouTube show.
But you know, Kota Ibushi was part of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now we have Kota as the double champ in New Japan, and we have Kenny as the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, which is awesome.
And even on top of that, I thought of a interesting question. I guess this was brought up in the post comment, but I guess this probably will go more to you, Gorekeeper, just because, you know, a little bit more of the New Japan history. But your thoughts on Kota Ibushi wanting to unify the two titles?
See, I go back and forth on that because there is a problem in New Japan where there are probably, some people might say there's too many belts. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. So getting rid of a belt and making it more prestigious is a good thing. But at the same time, that's just another belt they could use to build somebody.
Yep.
Like Sonata, for instance. I think he would do great with the Intercontinental belt because... are you done watching the Jay White versus...
Yeah.
Okay,
yep.
It's over?
Yep.
Okay.
It's been up for a little bit now. So.
Okay.
Oh.
So, as you saw at the end, I don't know if you watched after the match, but Sonata, who fought Evil earlier in the night and beat Evil, who's also in Bullet Club, Sonata came out to challenge Kota Ibushi. Sonata is one of my favorites in New Japan. I've loved him ever since I first got into New Japan. I think I watched Wrestle Kingdom 11 was my first one, I believe.
Wow, so you've been watching this for a while.
Yeah. I think, and I saw him wrestle, some events after that, and I think he might have been part of Wrestle Kingdom too, and he just had a cool look, and he has such an interesting in-ring style. He's technical wrestling. He does submissions very well. He also does the high flying really well, and the hard strikes very well. He has a good look to him. He just is well-rounded in everything. Like he's the whole package.
I miss the hair.
I miss the hair too. Yeah, he used to have a giant mohawk and a huge beard.
Beard and so it almost looked like his head was like perpendicular with hair just going like this.
Yeah. So Sonata is one of my top guys. I love him. So I would love to see him. I don't think he's gonna. What?
What's his full name again? I want to Google this.
It's just Sonata.
Yeah, just Sonata.
Okay.
But yeah, I would love to see him. I have no doubt in my mind that Kota Ibushi's gonna beat him. Sonata's not gonna win that match. I don't think he has a shot in hell, even though he did beat Kota in the G1. I don't see New Japan putting both belts on Sonata at this point, which is a shame. I would love to see it, but
that's a very good point to bring up. That's also another sign of when you're watching all these shows, just like what AEW wants to do, wins and losses matter.
Yes.
Instead of just having, hey, these two guys, you're having a number one contenders match. You're going to go against the champion. This was, I beat you in this tournament, therefore I deserve a shot.
2 years in a row, I believe.
Well, yeah. And
that's
so
not a beat Kota Ibushi in the tournament.
Yeah.
I don't think
building on
Kota's
tournament
ever
history,
beaten
building on
Sonata.
No. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah. So that'll be a fun match to watch for sure. Kota usually adapts his style to whoever his opponent is, which I think will be really fun to watch him try to wrestle like Sonata. I think that'll be awesome. I think it'll be a really good match.
I gotta imagine that match will happen at that February show that they announced. I forgot the name of it, but
yeah, I don't remember either.
It's basically another show that they announced that they wanted it to be a big one.
Another big one, yeah.
So that one, the February, and then Dominion.
Yeah.
dang.
Going back to your original question.
Yeah,
that's Sonata. Yeah,
that's peak Sonata right there.
That's prime.
That is cool. That is so cool.
Rockabilly Sonata. But yeah. Going back to your question, I think unifying the belts has pros and cons to it, so I'm kind of torn. I'm just interested to see what they're going to do with it. I would assume they're just going to unify the belts. I don't know if that's the right move or the wrong move. I guess this is one of those things where I just have to let it see and play out and see if it was a mistake.
Trust the booking.
Back on it. Yeah, I'm just going to trust the booking because New Japan's pretty good at it. So I'll
last year was a little.
Well, I mean, with all the COVID stuff happening, who can really blame them, you know?
Well, some people were giving them adequate shit for the build of Evil last year.
Yeah, that was a strange decision.
That was odd.
Yeah, that was odd. I don't know why he won both belts. That was one of my weirdest moments of the year in wrestling when Evil won both the belts, but that didn't last very long, thank God.
Yeah,
not that I don't like Evil. I think he's a fine wrestler. It's just he's not
there's a lot of
caliber.
people that don't think that. Like even after their match with Sonata, they said, like after that match, they go, and this should be the end of the experiment of Evil as a top singles guy.
Yeah,
like Jesus. I don't know if he's that bad.
No, he's not. He's fine. He's fine.
Yeah,
like
the way that some described it, his ascension was like how WWE randomly gave the title to Jinder a couple years ago. I don't know if that's fair.
No, that's not.
A lot of people say that.
Evil was not a jobber and then went straight to the title. Evil has consistently been good in the G1 every year. He usually hits double-digit points in the G1 every year, or I think
for some reason.
I think the lowest he ever got was like an 8, which is what I think.
Yeah, but still,
which is not horrible. I mean,
no.
Yes, I mean Evil is booked even individually outside of tag teams very well.
That will be.
But for some reason it still did seem strange that they put the belt on him, even though they've booked him well in the past. It just didn't. He doesn't hit that caliber mark that I think.
The only good thing out of that.
Hold on, we got a question here.
Oh no.
Who is the young guy in Bullet Club right now? He was badass. There's a couple young guys.
Maybe El Phantasmo?
I believe you're talking about El Phantasmo. He wrestled against Hiromu Takahashi in night 1. Is that who you mean? The Headbang Club? He's in Bullet Club. I think he joined Bullet Club.
Or he could be talking about Ishimori.
Ishimori is not too young though.
He looks young though. He's a youthful looking.
Yeah, that's true.
He's a youthful looking man. I was going to say, for the record, how we're bringing up points, that will absolutely be your challenge this year, Mr. T, is see how much of the G1 you can sit through. Because it is a slog, but oh my God, it is the best tournament in pro wrestling.
Yeah, I probably would have finished Wrestle Kingdom a lot faster than I did, but it has been an excruciatingly busy week for me. What with work, everything I got going on, and then some side projects I got going on up in Fargo, North Dakota. Yep, there it is. Ishii.
It's Ishimori, that's what we meant.
Ishimori, okay.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's fantastic.
But yeah,
I'm assuming you didn't mean Ishii.
Yeah, well, Ishii wasn't on wrestling this year, really, so.
He did wrestle New Year's Dash. You're right.
He did. Okay.
Oh no, he was. He was in that.
He was in the Rumble. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think since we're at 52 minutes already, since there was so much wrestling, I think this week we should skip 20 questions.
Yes,
that is fine.
Are you guys all good with that?
Yeah.
And let's just go into our last segment today, which is Who Dares Question Me? This is our Q&A portion of the show.
Wonderful. Finally, we get a question.
Yes, and we actually have a video question this week, which I will play really quick.
Ooh.
This comes from Bryan, who did not want to show his face, which is totally fine.
Mr. Anonymity.
I will play that really quickly here, and we'll answer his question.
Okay.
Hey, guys, I have 3 questions for you. If the rumors of New Japan coming back to American TV are true, where do you think it is most likely they'll end up? What station do you think they'll end up with? Question 2, what do you make of the Jay White possibly moving to WWE rumors? What do you think that looks like for him? Are they actually going to know what they have with him, or are they just going to waste another talent? And 3, if you could suggest any 3 events or matches for a person who's new to New Japan to watch, what 3 would you recommend? Thanks.
Awesome. Well, that's we gotta unbox this because this is a big few questions here.
Okay, so I believe the first one he said was New Japan coming to America. What station should it be on? Oh boy,
good question. I mean, honestly,
it's not going to be on a major one. I don't think.
Yeah,
it's not going to be on like.
I would like.
Oh, I would love that, but it's not going to happen. I mean,
wait, what do you mean? What are you hoping it would happen on?
I mean, it's not going to be on like Fox or
no
USA
like
or nothing like that. It's going to be on some channel probably close to Access.
Vice.
Maybe
I was
Vice.
just thinking like old school Spike TV. I can see it on something similar to that level right now. But yeah, I hope it's something that Ted Turner owns. So I can get my crossover.
If they were really serious about wanting a New Japan crossover, Turner Broadcasting can make it happen. They could have AEW one day, and here we got it. He's kind of thinking the same thing. The sex of AEW is possible. TNT can pick it up.
There would have to be a relationship.
There would have to be a firm relationship between New Japan and AEW for that to happen. Because you don't want your wrestling companies to compete against each other. So
on the
that
same
means
program, especially.
Exactly. I mean, even if you had it on different days, it would still be like, well, I'm going to watch it this day instead of this day because this day is better. You know, you don't want to do that to yourself. So I don't know if that'll happen. That's an interesting question.
Especially since AEW is so new, and I know for a fact that when we get fans back, we are. You don't have to give me the full thing. This will be quick. But especially when we get fans back, I really hope we get. We already have Dynamite. I hope we get another AEW program. So it's AEW twice a week. I know we get Dark.
We will,
but I mean,
oh yeah,
I don't always watch Dark, but AEW has so many wrestlers, and they need to showcase as many of them as they can. So they'll for sure, I think, get another show on a different day of the week.
Yeah, I'm 100% guaranteed that's going to happen. AEW will have a secondary show.
I think they will have a second show before New Japan would show up.
I think so
too. I agree.
Agreed.
But
the second question that he asked was regarding Jay White. Because Jay White announced after Wrestle Kingdom 15 that he is done with New Japan. He quit. In the ring, he said, "I admit that's it. I'm done." And then after that, I don't know if it's a work, but from all reports that have been coming out, it's not a work. He's done with New Japan.
It's 50-50. From the reports, it's 50-50. His contract's up at the end of January. 50-50 that he either re-signs with New Japan or goes to WWE, with all reports being on NXT, which would be a huge get for them.
Yeah, WWE needs Jay White so bad.
He could turn the tide.
He really could, but I think WWE could royally screw him up too. That's what's so scary about going to WWE right now, I think.
Jay White is kind of like one of those guys, though, at the same time, where it's like you have everything. It's impossible to screw him up. He's the complete package. He can cut a promo. He's led Bullet Club into success after Kenny Omega, which is a tall task. He can wrestle like a mofo. He can tell a story in the ring. I mean, he has the heel work he does is amazing. In Ring of Honor, he was a face, and he was an underdog face, and he was great in Ring of Honor. And he's just gotten better since going to New Japan. I think he has all the tools you need to succeed, and it's almost foolproof. I mean, you got to be just absolutely out of your mind to screw up Jay White. For me, I think it's nearly impossible to screw up Jay White. So if he goes to WWE, guess who's going to be tuning in to WWE again?
Yeah.
I will, because I love too. Jay White. He's fantastic. Switchblade era was great.
I feel like he'll be, if he does go to WWE, he'll be sort of a big fish in a small pond. What do you guys think about that?
You mean small pond?
As far as, meaning he's gonna be like Gorekeeper said, he's the complete package. Like, he's gonna be able to do everything perfectly, promos, in match, wrestling, everything. Like, they're gonna put him against Roman Reigns, and it's gonna look like 1980s Hulk Hogan versus a Virgil.
No, don't shit on Virgil. That's not fair.
I'm not. I just really despise Roman. I'm sorry.
All right, so people thought it was impossible to screw up Nakamura. Now. Vince can screw up any talent if he didn't make them.
Oh, Vince can screw up anybody easily. AJ, Samoa Joe. We could spend lots of time talking about how many people he screwed up, but he
didn't screw up AJ Styles.
No, he's saying
AJ,
and Vince didn't make him.
I mean, AJ, no, but
he said multiple times.
He's holding AJ back. I think he's holding AJ back.
I don't know what else AJ could do.
I don't know. I think Jay White. I don't think Jay White should go to AEW just because the top card is so top heavy right now.
It's impossible. But if he went to TNA, guys, I know it's impossible.
It's
they don't got the money. They don't have the money, but we already know how TNA and AEW's crossed over a little bit. Like, just imagine that feud: Kenny versus Jay. That'd be kind of cool.
Well, Kenny did lose the. Wait, no, he lost it to Tanahashi. He lost it to Jay.
And then Tanahashi lost it to Jay. Yeah, I don't believe Kenny ever had a match with Jay White in New Japan that I can remember.
Wait, yes, they did for the U.S. title. After Kenny tried to get Jay White to join Bullet Club, and Jay turned him down, joined Chaos.
Okay, I remember
fought for the U.S. title.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, Jay White initially turned down Bullet Club, but that's because he didn't want to be in that kind of Bullet Club. He wanted to be in, like, Tama Tonga style Bullet Club.
Yeah.
That's
I think the last question was if we could pick 3 matches to give to someone who's never seen New Japan Wrestling to watch, what would you show them? I already can think of 3.
I'm not one to ask this question too.
Yeah.
I would say
ask the goalkeeper, ask John, don't ask the judge.
I think Kenny Omega Okada 3.
Yep.
Or 1, or any of the trilogy really. Any Okada versus Omega match is gonna get you into New Japan. Another one I want to say is probably I would want to lean towards maybe Tomohiro Ishii versus Suzuki. Any of those matches they've had have been so hard hitting. And then one, if they're into really flippy stuff, either watch Hiromu Takahashi versus
Ospreay.
No, Kushida before he left to NXT. Their feud was so great. Otherwise, I would go Ospreay versus Ricochet. You can't go wrong with that one.
You were telling me about that. It's on my list, along with those Omega matches for sure.
Yeah. So I think those are 3 of mine to give a sense of the Okada Omega ones are storytelling. The Suzuki Ishii ones are all gonna be strong style, how hard they're gonna hit each other, and then Ospreay Ricochet is gonna be showing off all the flippy cool shit. Yeah.
I'd have to basically agree with what you said. The only sort of extra thing is if you want to see the New Japan style of feeling that the good idea is to take every bump on your neck, watch any kind of Naito versus Ibushi match.
Yeah, not so much this Wrestle Kingdom. It didn't happen too much. But all the previous
past few years, it's like, hi, I'm going to dump you on your neck now.
Yeah. Kota and Naito like to kill each other for some reason.
I think they exclusively do workouts to swell their necks so they don't get crippled.
For sure. All right. Oop, I got a burp. All right. Well, we are at the end of the show.
We're at the end of the show, boys.
There's only one thing to
blue guy.
I was thinking maybe quickly, since we will be covering it, in case people haven't seen, can quickly go over the match card for next Saturday's pay-per-view, Hard to Kill at Impact. Just very quickly, not even necessarily get into the matches. Okay, first one to bring up, the Karate Man versus Ethan Page. It will
so excited for that.
It's going to be a cinematic match, but that's the way it has to be. You got Eddie Edwards versus Sami Callihan in a barbed wire massacre.
That's going to be awesome.
Jesus.
I cannot wait.
Eric Young, Diener, and Joe Doring versus Cousin Jake Rhino and Tommy Dreamer in an old school rules 6-man tag.
That's going to be epic.
Deonna Purrazzo versus Taya Valkyrie.
I don't like Taya Valkyrie.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Taya Valkyrie. Married to Jomo, John Morrison, for those who don't know. Manic versus Chris Bay versus Rohit Raju for the X Division title.
That'll be good.
I like X Division title match.
You have Havoc and Neva, whatever the hell, versus Kira Hogan and Tasha to crown the Impact. And, of course, in the main event, the Elite of Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers with Don Callis versus Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns.
That's going to be fun.
It's going to be a solid stacked show.
High hopes for that match.
I've always, since I've seen Rich Swann, have wanted to see him face Kenny Omega. I love Rich Swann.
And I don't think you ever thought that was going to happen.
No, never. And now I'm so excited to see it. So it should be a really fun pay-per-view. I can't wait to watch it. But for tonight, that is it for our show. We finally made it at about an hour, you guys.
Real quick, boys. What wrestling shirts you got on? Because I see that I'm not the only one tonight. John, you first. Goalkeeper. What do you got? WrestleVania, Young Bucks, and I am Delete Broken Crystal Skull, Matt Hardy.
Yeah, mine is Warhausen. It's the tag team of Warhorse and Danhausen.
That is
in the style of Castlevania, the video game.
So epic. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for tuning in. This has been the Shooting Star Press, and I am the judge, a.k.a. Mr. T, and to my right, left, whatever way it is, I am with the Gorekeeper, and once again, John, thank you so much. You are always welcome, in my opinion, anytime we do a live. Thank you so much for joining again. Next week, I've got a really epic 20 questions. All
right. Looking forward to it. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week at 8 p.m. Saturday. Tell your friends. Subscribe. All that fun stuff. Yes.
Hit that notification bell. We will see you next week.
Yep. Adios. Peace out, guys.